There is a quiet truth about human psychology that many people overlook. Attraction is not sustained by force, pleading, or constant availability. Instead, it grows in the presence of mystery, self-respect, and emotional independence. When a woman learns to stand firmly within her own identity, something powerful begins to happen in the minds of those around her. A man may walk away for many reasons: confusion, fear of commitment, distraction, or the illusion that something better exists elsewhere. Yet time often reveals what was once taken for granted. People rarely understand the value of something when it is constantly within their reach. When someone feels they fully possess another person, the sense of discovery fades. But when a person carries an inner world that is rich, self-sufficient, and not dependent on validation, they become unforgettable. The human mind is drawn toward what it cannot fully control or predict. This is not about manipulation. It is about authenticity and inner balance. When you stop chasing approval and instead cultivate your own purpose, energy shifts. You begin to live in a way that reflects dignity rather than need. Instead of asking, why did he leave? You begin asking, what kind of life am I building for myself? That subtle shift changes everything. Confidence that comes from within creates a psychological magnetism. It communicates that your worth is not determined by whether someone stays or goes. Silence also carries its own language. When someone leaves and expects desperation, but instead finds calmness and growth, curiosity begins to form in their mind. They start to wonder what changed. They begin to revisit memories, replay conversations, and question their decision. The absence of emotional chaos becomes strangely powerful. Another important truth is emotional stability. When someone knows that you will not collapse under the weight of their absence, they begin to see you differently. Strength does not mean coldness or indifference. It means understanding that your life continues to move forward. People respect those who respect themselves. Growth also plays a crucial role. When you use time apart to develop emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, you transform into a version of yourself that is even more grounded. When someone encounters you again and sees that you have evolved rather than remain stuck, the contrast becomes striking. It forces them to recognize what they once had in their life. In the end, the real secret is not about making someone return. The true power lies in becoming a person whose life is so meaningful, balanced, and self-directed that whether someone returns or not no longer defines your happiness. And paradoxically, it is often at that very moment, when you no longer seek their return, that they begin to find their way back. Self-respect is one of the most magnetic qualities a person can possess. Yet, it is often misunderstood as arrogance or coldness. True self-respect is the unwavering recognition of your own value, boundaries, and needs. It is the quiet confidence that you do not need external approval to feel complete or worthy. When a woman embodies self-respect, it signals to others, particularly men, that she is not a source of convenience or a placeholder in someone else's life. This authenticity creates a deep, almost instinctual attraction, because human beings are wired to gravitate towards strength that is not demanding but inherently grounded. Self-respect communicates that you will not tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or disregard, which automatically sets a standard for how others must treat you. This standard is not imposed through force or confrontation. It is naturally understood through your consistent actions, the way you carry yourself, and the way you respond to situations. It gives the impression that you value yourself enough to walk away from what does not serve you, which paradoxically makes you more desirable. People are drawn to what they perceive as rare and uncompromising, and self-respect is exactly that. It is a quality that cannot be feigned for long. When you maintain your integrity, honor your commitments to yourself, and refuse to lower your standards for validation, it communicates stability and emotional maturity. Men in particular respond to this because it aligns with a psychological principle. Individuals are attracted to those who have a strong sense of identity and do not allow their worth to be defined by someone else. Self-respect is not about ego. It is about cultivating an inner magnetism that comes from knowing who you are, what you deserve, and refusing to settle for anything less. This energy, subtle yet powerful, naturally draws people toward you. Emotional independence is one of the most compelling qualities a person can develop, and it naturally cultivates a sense of mystery that draws others in. When someone is emotionally independent, they do not rely on external validation, attention, or approval to feel complete. Their happiness and sense of worth come from within, and this internal stability creates a calm, self-assured energy that others find magnetic. Unlike people who constantly seek reassurance or over-explain their feelings, someone who is emotionally independent does not broadcast every thought or reaction. This restraint is not coldness, it is a quiet confidence that signals control over one's own emotions, creating intrigue. The unpredictability of someone who is emotionally self-sufficient generates curiosity because people are naturally drawn to what they cannot fully understand or influence. Emotional independence allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. You are guided by your principles and self-awareness, not by fear of losing someone or by the need to manipulate outcomes. This creates a subtle tension in relationships. Others notice that your world does not revolve around them, yet they still want to be part of it. The space you maintain in your own emotional life forces others to pay attention to how they behave around you and how they affect you, which increases their investment and respect. It also communicates that you are capable of handling life as challenges on your own, which is inherently attractive. By not being overly available or dependent, you create an aura of depth, self-sufficiency, and personal intrigue. Emotional independence transforms interactions into exchanges of genuine interest rather than neediness. People are naturally drawn to the calm power of someone who stands on their own, and this creates an enigmatic allure that makes them want to come closer, learn more, and ultimately value the connection more deeply. Absence has a unique way of revealing the true value of a person, especially in relationships. When someone is constantly present, always available, and immediately responsive, it can be easy for others to take their presence for granted. Familiarity, while comforting, often dulls the sense of appreciation because the mind begins to assume that this person will always be there, no matter what. However, when distance enters, whether physical or emotional, it creates space for reflection, comparison, and awareness. Suddenly, the little things that were once overlooked, kindness, patience, attentiveness, or subtle gestures of care, become more visible. Absence forces people to confront what they truly miss, what brought them comfort, and what they once undervalued. It allows them to see qualities that were always there but went unnoticed because they were never given the weight of consideration. Psychologically, humans tend to notice scarcity more than abundance. When something or someone is consistently available, it blends into the background. But when that person is gone or less accessible, the mind cannot ignore their significance. This is not about manipulation, but rather a natural consequence of human perception. Distance creates perspective. In romantic dynamics, absence can prompt reflection on emotional investment, the depth of connection, and the impact a person has on daily life. People may begin to revisit memories, recall moments of support or laughter, and recognize the comfort or stability the other brought to their lives. Sometimes it is in these moments that true feelings surface, feelings that may have been buried under routine or neglect. Absence also highlights the contrast between presence and loss, emphasizing the gap that only that person can fill. In essence, stepping back or allowing space allows others to measure the depth of their attachment, to understand your true worth, and to realize that some things, once gone, are not easily replaced. Silence is a tool far more powerful than many realize because it communicates without words and commands attention without effort. In relationships and interactions, people often feel compelled to fill every gap with explanations, justifications, or emotional reactions. Constant talking or overreacting can dilute your presence and make your value appear dependent on others' approval. Silence, on the other hand, signals control, confidence, and emotional mastery. When you choose not to respond impulsively or rush to prove a point, you create a space where others must pause, reflect, and reconsider their actions or words. It is in these quiet moments that true influence is exercised. Silence forces observation. It makes people notice patterns they may have ignored, recognize the weight of their behavior, and evaluate the depth of your character. It carries an unspoken authority because it implies that you are not desperate for validation or reassurance. In relationships, silence can be transformative. When someone expects a reaction, especially an emotional one, and instead encounters calm or absence, it disrupts their assumption. They are compelled to reflect on what they said or did, to confront their own motives, and often to reassess their connection with you. Beyond psychology, Silence communicates a powerful personal principle, that your energy and attention are selective, and that you decide when, how, and to whom you give them. It creates a subtle tension, a space filled with anticipation, curiosity, and respect. People naturally want what they cannot predict or control, and silence makes your presence more impactful because it is measured, deliberate, and meaningful. Unlike words that can be misunderstood or dismissed, silence leaves room for interpretation, deep reflection, and heightened awareness, allowing your presence to resonate far more than constant expression ever could. It becomes a quiet form of influence, subtle yet undeniable. Personal growth has a profound impact on how others perceive you, because transformation is often visible even before words are spoken. When you commit to developing yourself emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, it radiates outward in subtle but powerful ways. Your confidence deepens, your energy becomes more grounded, and your presence carries a sense of purpose that is hard to ignore. People notice the difference in how you handle situations, the way you carry yourself, and the way you respond to challenges. Growth changes not only what you do, but also how you do it, and this shift often forces others to reconsider their assumptions about you. Someone who once seemed approachable only for convenience or familiarity now exudes independence and self-direction, creating a new dynamic in relationships. Personal evolution also reshapes boundaries. As you grow, you become more discerning about what you tolerate and what you allow into your life. This discernment communicates strength and self-respect, which can change how people treat you and what they expect from you. The habits you cultivate, discipline, patience, emotional intelligence, resilience, project a version of yourself that is undeniably attractive and respected. Moreover, personal growth often makes people reflect on their own choices and behaviors. When they see someone evolving, they are forced to confront whether they have contributed positively to that growth or merely remain passive observers. This awareness can shift their perception, making them see you as someone more significant, rare, and impactful than they realized before. Growth is not about proving worth to others, but its effects are unmistakable. People naturally begin to value, respect, and even desire the company of someone who is continually improving, self-aware, and moving forward in life. Change becomes a mirror that reflects not only your evolution, but also the value they may have overlooked. True power comes not from control over others, wealth, or external achievements, but from inner fulfillment, the deep sense of completeness that arises when you are at peace with yourself. Inner fulfillment is rooted in self-awareness, acceptance, and alignment with your values and purpose. When a person cultivates this kind of power, they no longer seek validation from others because their worth is not dependent on approval or recognition. This internal strength creates a calm confidence that radiates outward, influencing how people perceive and respond to them. Those who are truly fulfilled internally do not act out of fear, need, or insecurity. Instead, their actions are guided by clarity, intention, and self-respect. Inner fulfillment allows you to navigate life's challenges without being destabilized by external circumstances. Obstacles, rejection, or setbacks lose their power to shake your sense of self. And this resilience becomes magnetic to others, drawing them in naturally rather than through effort or persuasion. It also fosters authenticity, because when you are fulfilled, you no longer feel compelled to wear masks, please everyone, or manipulate situations to feel secure. People are instinctively drawn to this kind of energy because it signals stability, trustworthiness, and emotional maturity, qualities that cannot be feigned. Furthermore, inner fulfillment shifts the focus from controlling outcomes to enjoying the journey of life itself. You become less concerned with whether someone stays, leaves, or returns, because your happiness and sense of purpose are already firmly established within. This detachment does not mean indifference. It means you interact from a place of abundance rather than need. Paradoxically, increases your influence and presence. Ultimately, true power is not measured by what others do for you, but by the depth of satisfaction, peace, and alignment you have cultivated within yourself. It is the inner reservoir of strength that makes you unshakable, magnetic, and genuinely irresistible. And so, the real secret is not about forcing anyone to stay or return. It is about becoming someone whose life is rich, balanced, and guided by purpose. When you cultivate self-respect, emotional independence, personal growth, and inner fulfillment, you step into a power that no one can take away. You stop chasing validation and instead live with intention, calmness, and dignity. And it is in this very space, when your happiness is complete on its own, that people often find themselves drawn back to you naturally. True attraction is never manufactured. It emerges from authenticity, strength, and the quiet confidence that you are whole with or without anyone else. When you embody that, you are no longer defined by who stays or leaves. You are defined by the unshakable value you carry within.